At college, students come and go, one class leaves, and another takes their place. And the same is true for buildings on campus.
It has been amazing to see, and it's fun to talk to alums about the changes from when they were students here and now.
Now there has been more change to Marquette's campus in the last 15 years than ever before. But where to begin?
You engage with design engineers and in many cases a construction manager to work through the process of, okay, this is what you say you need. Does this work?
To brainstorm that, those campus leaders meet to create a master plan, something Laura Striggins did 8 years ago.
The first thing that I got involved with when I arrived on campus was leading a campus master plan. The master plan was really a framework that established some priorities for campus. We've also had a few things that weren't in the original master plan that emerged as priorities because they were opportunities for Marquette.
And one of those emerging priorities, a new home for the College of Nursing, expanding beyond Clark Hall.
Clark was aging, nursing was outgrowing it even before this, but with a nursing strategic plan to support their enrollment growth, it really made the case for a new facility for that college.
So the creation of O'Brien Hall, the new building for the College of Business Administration, paved the way for nursing to move into Straz Hall in what you can see as a major renovation. It's all possible due to the Time to Rise fundraising campaign.
There seems to be a challenge amongst some folks on the how can we afford new buildings when tuition is going up? Couldn't we have lower tuition by not having these buildings? And the reality of it is these buildings will be around for 100 years, so we're not only building them for the current students, but we're also building them for generations of students.
Part of my responsibility here at the university is also to be sure that we're managing to a scope and a budget.
A $60 million budget to be exact for O'Brien Hall. And make no mistake about it, Clark Hall will have a new purpose once nursing moves out in the fall of 2024, and it will always be a very much needed piece of campus.
About a third of that building is the campus central plant. So that building looks a lot bigger than it is, but that's part of what feeds the infrastructure for the rest of our campus.
Infrastructure has to be updated at some point, whether by choice or by law. That's why working on an existing building can be more difficult than constructing a new one.
All of the buildings on campus meet the code for the time that they were built. But as we know, a lot of those buildings, that's a long time ago, and the code has changed. You know, on a campus like ours, where there's a number of existing buildings and new buildings, that can present a unique challenge.
Code standards that are both at the, and literally at that point, it would likely be at the city level, at the state level, and then at the federal government level that all have to provide that ADA accessibility.
I love that we're adaptively reusing an existing building. We're also doing that with Wellness and Rec.
We reached out to the Office of Disability Services, which declined to comment. Now, accessibility to the Health Air Rec Center is a no-go at the moment, but students are going to the other rec locations just as much.
We had gotten the utilization numbers, and compared to last winter at Health Fair, the counts of students swiping in at the Recplex, at the Nest, at O'Donnell were at or above what they were before. It's temporary, but I know temporary for students that are living in it right now, that could be, you know, it's up to 2 years, so it's half of your time at Marquette.
That's why planning and facilities management has to be efficient in their use of space.
We have to think about how do we create flexible shared spaces that can work for a number of different functions. Is a number of different spaces that work really well for gathering, that work well for retreats, that work well for groups to meet, but are not dedicated to only one specific use.
All students need a place to study, but the library isn't going to be so quiet, with construction beginning on the Lamona Center for Student Success at the end of this school year.
We know that those reading rooms are precious space for students to study, and so there'll be an impact while construction's going on, but we'll be communicating with campus a lot more about what those interim plans are to make sure that there's an ample amount of study space in the library throughout the construction. It's thinking about what is the impact to our student population.
As far as impact goes, Striggins has an idea of what's next on the docket.
The most obvious of that is to address the need for the sciences. Student input's a really important part of our master planning process. So when we went through that last time, we had multiple campus forums and workshops. We did listening sessions with student groups. I like to tell people when we start on a project, every square foot has value.
There's value in every project, big or small.
Of these smaller projects we've done along the way, I think those say as much or more about our campus community and what our goals are around diversity and inclusion and community on this campus as much as those big projects.
Sometimes the biggest rewards for Striggans are the ones that go unnoticed to students.
Eckstein Common between Schrader and AMU, when I got to this campus, that was like a loading dock, a parking lot. There was like trash collecting everywhere around there. And now it's this beautiful green space.
Whether there's a big building or a wide open area created, there's no picking favorites.
It's like picking a favorite child. You're not at that point in your life yet.
Buildings don't talk, but they say a lot about the institution and the people who built them. I'm Timothy Littau, Marquette Wire News.